Okay, today we're going to be going over the 2020 NBA draft and redrafting them based on hindsight. It's been 2 years. We roughly have a good idea of what certain players are going to be, how they play, their play style, how they fit in their system. So we're going to be going over all of those things and again, re-ranking them and providing the new teams that they would be on if teams got a second chance to draft them. So at number 10, we have Kenyon Martin Jr. Originally the 52nd pick. He wasn't super high on anyone's draft boards, let alone on anyone's radar. But, at being only 21 years old, being, now on the Houston Rockets, but in this case, if the Phoenix Suns, who had the 10th overall pick in that draft, got to redraft, he would be on the Phoenix Suns. So that would be interesting, especially considering how they kind of flopped this year in the second round. So maybe he could have played to their advantage, but we'll never know. But for the reasoning for the 10th overall selection for him is he's a solid shooter, great finisher at the rim, good rebounder, and he's able to contest his opponent's shots, regardless of him only being 6'5" as a forward. So, relatively short, but he's still lengthy, he's still got hops, he can still get in your face and block shots. The only problem is that he's a 63% free throw shooter, so not the greatest. But as you can see, here's the stats. So again, not amazing, but he is solid, especially for someone, the 52nd pick and what could have easily been the 10th overall pick, in our opinion. So his comparison is PJ Washington, solid all around, primarily used as a defensive game changer, yet still provides value on offense. Overall, just a solid role player for any level of team. At number 9, we have Jaden McDaniels, originally the 28th pick. Jaden McDaniels is 21. He's currently on the Timberwolves, but in this scenario, if he were selected 9th, like we believe he should have in hindsight, he would be on the Washington Wizards. The reasoning for this pick is he's a solid shooter if open, not great though. If you can test him at the three-point line or any mid-range shots, he's going to have a tough time making those. But if you leave him open, like the T-Wolves are able to create open shots for him, he's usually pretty solid. His length allows him to finish at the rim when contested, which is a very, very positive trait for him. Another negative is he's unable to drive to the rim by himself, primarily due to the fact that he's not big. He's pretty lanky, kind of like KD. But this will improve with time as he grows. He's only 21 and he'll get more experience. His height also allows him to get rebounds easily over most forwards and guards, because that's usually who he's playing. He's a power forward / small forward. And that's a big positive, especially for the Timberwolves. And in the playoffs this year, I believe he was very impactful rebound-wise for them. And then the last quality is a bit of an intangible. He's poised, especially in the Wolves' offensive system. He usually does what the Wolves ask of him or exceeds it. So his player comparison is Scottie Pippen. This is mostly due to his looks and the fact that he plays with fellow Bulls clones, such as MJ and Dennis Rodman. At number 8, we have Patrick Williams. Originally the 4th pick, Patrick Williams is 20 years old. He's currently on the Chicago Bulls, but in this hypothetical, he would have went to the New York Knicks at number 8. The reasoning for this pick is, first, he was actually great in his rookie year. The only reason why we let him slide down to 8 is he was injured in his sophomore year and, didn't really get to show any improvement on that end, but still has the potential to do so. Oh, and by the way, most of this is going off his rookie year performance. He's a solid shooter and efficient all around. He uses his size at the rim to finish when needed. He's a good rebounder, plays level-headed within his role, doesn't really try to do anything too much or try to get too creative outside of his play style. And then again, he's only 20. He can improve all around. He'll be better. Our comparison was OG Anunoby. With time, Patrick Williams could become a very well-adjusted role player within his team system like OG and potentially become a focal point of his team's offense and defense given enough time. At number 7, we have Cole Anthony. Originally picked number 15, Cole Anthony is 22. He's currently on the Orlando Magic, but if he were to be redrafted at the 7 spot like we would have him, he would be on the Detroit Pistons. The reasoning for this pick is he's a high-volume scorer, although fairly inefficient. This is partially due to the fact that he plays with the Magic, and they're obviously a dumpster fire of a team. He's a good facilitator and a captain on offense, able to find and craft creative ways to get his teammates open. He's a decent finisher at the rim, although this isn't necessarily a strong suit, and he's a slightly below average three-point shooter. And then, as you can see here, his stats, and his comparison is Terry Rozier. This is because he's solid all around but fails to excel at one aspect of the game. But overall, if you get Cole Anthony at 7, That's a pretty good pick. And if you're the Orlando Magic who got him at 15, you live with that decision. You're pretty happy about that. He's a solid point guard and good starter in the league so far. At number 6, we have Saddiq Bey. Originally picked 19 overall in the draft. He's 23 years old, currently plays for the Detroit Pistons, but in this scenario, he would be playing for the Atlanta Hawks. The reasoning for Saddiq going number 6 is he's a good rebounder for his position. He's able to create a shot if the offense isn't functioning as planned. So he's pretty crafty and creative on his own. He's not a great shooter, however, as he's pretty inefficient, so there is some drawback to that. But he rarely turns the ball over. He averages, I think, 1.2 turnovers per game. So solid all around on that end. Smart player, not super irresponsible, especially given how much he's shooting. And his comparison is Andrew Wiggins. He's an inefficient scorer with few redeeming qualities, but he still has the potential to improve significantly due to his size and athleticism. Okay, at number 5, we have my least favorite player in the NBA, Desmond Bane. Originally picked 30th overall, Desmond Bane is 23 years old. He currently plays for the Memphis Grizzlies. In this scenario, he would then play for the Cleveland Cavaliers, being the 5th pick. And the reason for us putting him here is he's a phenomenal shooter. He shot 44% from 3 on 9 attempts per game. He's a good pull-up shooter and can bail his team out if needed. So if their offense is ever stagnant, can't find a shot, there's 5 seconds left. If you get it to Bane, you can be sure you're going to get at least a decent shot. His size allows him to get rebounds fairly easily against other guards. He's built like a running back and yet somehow is a shooting guard, so comes with its ups and downs. His size also allows him to get in the paint easily for layups and putbacks, as he can push most other players around who are attempting to guard him unless it's a center. He's not the fastest player, although as mentioned before, his size makes up for this. He plays very smart, rarely turns the ball over. That's another really good quality of his play style. And then one kind of negative is he's not a great facilitator for as many touches as he gets. He's only averaging 2.7 assists per game. But given his role in the system and the fact that the Grizzlies want to use him as a shooter, he's done that really well, and that's why he comes in here at number 5. His comparison is Klay Thompson. This is primarily due to the fact that they're both great shooters and well attuned to their role in their team's system. They're both not very athletic, but their basketball IQ makes up for this. At number 4, we have Tyrese Maxey. Originally picked number 21, Tyrese is 21 years old. He currently plays for the Philadelphia 76ers. In this new scenario, he would be a Chicago Bull, as they had the 4th pick in that year's draft. The reasoning for this pick is he actually had a slow start to his rookie season, only averaging, I think, like 7 points per game. But this was primarily due to the fact that there wasn't a lot of opportunity, and he really turned things up a notch in his sophomore season. In 2022, he became an integral part of the Sixers offense due to his ability to knock down threes at will. He shot 43% from 3. He very rarely turns the ball over, averaging just 1.2 turnovers per game. Especially being one of the primary ball handlers for the 76ers, this is very impressive. He's also a solid facilitator, but he's mainly used as a shooter/lane driver to collapse defenses as to allow attention to be drawn off Embiid, and so far he's done that very successfully. He also has the ability to finish at the rim whenever needed. This is pretty much due to the fact that he's very quick. And the last fact, he's only 21 years old, so he'll have lots of opportunity to improve his defense and passing, as these are kind of his 2 holes in his game that he has so far. But if he does so, he'll surely be a future all-star. And then our comparison for him is Kyrie Irving. He's primarily a scoring point guard, heavily relying on his shooting ability rather than playmaking. They're the same height, they're both 6'2", and then both are very good ball handlers compared to the rest of the league's guards. At number 3, we have Tyrese Haliburton. Originally picked number 12, Tyrese is 22 years old, and he was actually drafted to the Sacramento Kings, but then traded to the Pacers, and now in this scenario, he would be on the Hornets as they had the 3rd pick in that year's draft. The reason for this is he's a great facilitator, able to use his size and transition to finish at the rim over all types of defenders. He's a very good 3-point shooter, shooting 41% on 5 attempts per game this season. Due to his size, Haliburton has been a good defender as well. He's very good at the free throw line, shooting 85%. And then our comparison for him is Steve Nash, an average volume scorer on great efficiency, similarly to Nash, and then again, a great facilitator on offense. So we'll see where his career goes. I think he has all-star potential and very, very solid pickup for the Pacers. At number 2, we have LaMelo Ball. Originally picked number 3, LaMelo is 20 years old. He currently plays for the Charlotte Hornets, and in this case, he would be a Golden State Warrior if he was selected number 2, where we think he should have been selected. The reasoning for this pick is he's a great facilitator. He's also great in transition. He's crafty around the rim, but not necessarily as athletic as Edwards, so he isn't able to plow through defenders, but he's still very good in the paint nonetheless. He's also a good shooter, especially for his volume. He shoots 39% from 3 on 7.5 attempts. Defensively, he's not too great. There are a lot of gaps in his game, but this will be made up with age. Again, he's only 20. He'll improve in the next few years. He's also a lethal free throw shooter. He shot 87% from the free throw line this year. And then the last point is he's a ball brother and a baller. Nothing else needs to be said, right, Ebe? Correct. So for his comparison, we said Magic Johnson / Trae Young. This is because both are great facilitators and are good in transition, similar to Magic. LaMelo is tall and a good rebounder, similarly to Magic. And like Trae Young, LaMelo is a great off-balance shooter and volume shooter. So the benefit for his team is you can actually use LaMelo as a bailout shooter if needed. If there's, 4 seconds winding down and you need someone to shoot, LaMelo can do that. And the first overall pick, we have Anthony Edwards, the future of the Minnesota Timberwolves, originally picked number 1. Anthony Edwards is 20 years old. He currently plays for the Timberwolves, and his new team would be the Timberwolves. The reasoning for this pick is he's only 20 years old. There's a lot of time for him to improve. He's able to slither his way around defenders on the ground or in the air if needed. He's able to use his brute force to dunk over or shoot through defenders. He is a staple in the Wolves' perimeter defense and has become one of the better defenders in his class. His three-point shooting is really good and it will continue to improve. He has a little bit of a kind of like a two-part shooting motion, but that'll get better in time, and he'll possibly, raise his three-point percentage to 40 in the next couple of years, and if that's the case, he'll become elite, especially considering he's shooting 7 attempts per game. He's also a solid free throw shooter and rebounder. The rebounding is due to his size and his vertical. His facilitating isn't great, although this will improve with time. And then lastly, he's brought a winning mentality to Minnesota for the first time since Kevin Garnett. So, as you can imagine, being a Wolves fan, that's pretty valuable. Our comparison is Kobe Bryant and Donovan Mitchell. Both Kobe and Ant are able to get to the rim at will by either powering through the defender or finessing them. And then Ant's relation to Donovan is that they're both good shot creators and below average facilitators.
Based on my qualities, outstanding character, outstanding IQ, outstanding customer service skills, and obviously outstanding looks.
Take the time to slap a like on the video. If you're new here, make sure you subscribe.
Hey, yo, bud, you're a fucking pigeon, pal. Time out.